So a couple of things, if you're just coming in, since this is going to be a pretty mellow class, uh, gather up if you haven't already. If you don't have yoga blankets, that's fine. You're just some smaller size blankets that, for example, sitting, you might want to sit on one, and then we're going to do some movements. We'll need some support as well as one completely supported pose. So it could also be, this isn't that big, but it could also be a beach towel, and if you have a nice cat who wants to come and hang out by you, get your cat, although he tends to take up a lot of room and I'm trying to demonstrate. And we're going to start sitting. So, and also I might be sitting in weird positions, asymmetrical positions because of a fortunate knee injury that's being a real pain in the knee. So if you see me sitting like this, one leg cross, one leg out, don't do it. Just sit comfortably. Sit comfortably, sit tall, and get some blankets under your bottom. I know he's cute, but I might have to move him. But you probably would rather just, I would rather just look at a cat than me on video, or just listening to a cat purr. So take a moment to settle down and to set aside your props and to set aside your worries and maybe relax your shoulders and come to a comfortable seat. You're at home, so your comfortable seat could be leaning up against a wall. If you're doing it in your bedroom, you could lean against the side of the bed and just sit as tall as you can with your legs in any position that feels good. They don't have to be both crossed or both out or either of those. And line up your shoulders with your hips and see if you are comfortable closing your eyes. If you're not comfortable doing that, you don't have to. And close your eyes like soft curtains and bring your awareness inward to your breath. And notice your inhale and your exhale and the slight pause in between. So in a sense, our breath has four parts: inhale, pause, exhale, pause, and then repeat. And we're not intentionally pausing. There is a pause between the two parts of the breath. So we're not trying to make a pause. It's already there. And notice if on inhale, for example, if you have any restrictions, if you're feeling congested in your nose or your throat, allergy season. So notice that. And if you have congestion in your throat, you may want to have some water handy for that. And notice if you also have anything going on. I said nose and I said throat. I think I got it all. And then just notice if you can, is how comfortable or maybe not comfortable it is to sit tall. And you could always just lie down for a few moments if you prefer. Since we're starting the class sitting, that's how I started. And besides, Albus was taking up my whole mat, so I couldn't really lie down. So I had written in my email, for those of you who got that, if you're on my list, I'm going to focus on some upper back and shoulders today. So first, just let's do some little exploration and gentle movement sitting right here. Let's start with a twist. We're going to start twisting to your right. So you've been maybe sitting for a while, so maybe you want to change the position of your legs right now. And take your arms crisscross in front of your chest. And sometimes we put our arms here, we automatically sag and we round our back. So kind of lift your chest up gently into your crisscross hands. Inhale, and as you exhale, take a small turn to your right. So we're not using the hands to get us there. And then unfold the hands. So if you're turning to the right, you're going to take your right arm behind you, and you're going to take your left arm across to your right leg if it reaches. Maybe you want to have it here. That's okay too. Make sure your sitting bones are even to the mat, that you're not leaning on one side. Make sure you're not on the cat's tail. Check that. And also make sure you're still sitting tall, that you're not rounding. And since you're twisting to the right, without looking, just tap your opposite leg, tap your left leg, because sometimes when we twist, the opposite leg gets a little tense. So notice if you have that. And then I'll just be quiet and you can breathe here. And as you breathe here, I guess I'm not going to be quiet. I'm going to give you some thoughts. You might want to bring your awareness to your upper chest and breathe into your upper chest, not forcing, just bring your awareness there and notice if you feel any sense of shift, of movement, of lift in the upper chest. And then shift your awareness to your upper back. And focus your next inhale right there in your upper back and notice if you feel your back expand with your breath. usually very subtle. And then when you're ready, we're going to release the twist. And to release the twist, you could take your arms up and come back with the arms overhead. And then before we twist to the second side, I definitely suggest you do something different with your legs. Doesn't have to be, again, what I'm doing, because I'm really modifying a lot of things because of my knee. Make sure you're sitting nice and tall, and crisscross your arms again. Now, chances are when you crisscross your arms, it's probably the same arm on top. It probably always goes on top. So just in case, crisscross the other arm on top. Sit tall, inhale, exhale, take a twist to your second side, to your left. Then unfold your arms. The arm comes behind, one arm comes behind you, and the other arm comes to the opposite leg. So I know it looks a little weird here with where my legs are. So maybe I'll just sit like this so you look better. And again, if you like, bring your awareness to your upper chest and feel the expansion there or not. Don't worry if you don't feel it. Take a breath here. Nice inhale and exhale. And then bring your awareness to your upper back and take a nice breath in your upper back. Inhale and exhale. Notice if you didn't feel movement, don't worry. Make sure, since you're turning now, I believe to your left. Yes, you're turning toward your left. So your right leg might have tensed up. So you might want to reach back and tap that leg to make sure it's relaxed. Make sure both sitting bones are down, and ensure that you're not leaning. You're not leaning as you twist. That was a big lean. Most people don't lean that much, but sometimes there's just enough lean to take the opposite sitting bone up, which is somewhat destabilizing. And then when you're ready, with your arms down by your hips or up overhead or any way you want them, come back up to sitting. Come back up, turning forward, and lower your arms down. So remember this movement that we did. And by the way, if you're tired of sitting, you can do this standing if you like, or you could stand on your knees, which is this. Sorry, buddy. He's bended now. Or you could change your seat altogether. Again, because of my knee situation, I can't do this one. And I'm too lazy to come to stand. So you can come to standing if you like, whatever works. Take your arms crisscross in front of you. And as you inhale, open your arms part of the way. When I say part of the way, we're not pulling them back behind us. And you don't even have to take them in line with your shoulders. And then bring them back together. So you're just going to do this open and closing gate-like motion. Try and keep your shoulders relaxed. Make sure your arms don't go higher than your shoulders. That will help keep your shoulders relaxed. And the next time your arms are open, think of this as like a gate. And as you opened your gates, your front yard opened up, but your shoulder blades kind of came a little closer to the spine, so the backyard gate closed. So focus your next breath or two, or the awareness rather of that breath, on your upper chest. Breathing in and out. And then on your next exhale, wrap your arms around you. Keep your chest lifted, but drop your chin down toward your hands. Don't force it down. Just let it drip like rain. And do a little yes nod. And do a little no nod. And then change the cross of the hands. And we're going to do a few open and closing of our gates. And you're going to try and keep the same arm on top. Chances are this is not your dominant arm now that you switch. So again, open. This is really just oiling the gate, or so to speak. So when we sweep our arms open, the shoulder blades come toward the spine. When we bring them around back in front of us, they're moving away from the spine to the sides of the rib cage. So see if you could sense that movement. Don't worry if you can't isolate those feelings of that movement, but it might be interesting to look for that. And then again, the next time you open the front gates, pause there. Remember, here we're more open in the front and closed in the back. So there we pause the first time. So now close again, but don't let the closed arms encourage you to round down. For some reason, they do that for me. So keep your front gates closed. And now the shoulder blades should be a little bit away from each other. I mean, they're always away from each other, a little bit further away. And bring your awareness to your upper back and your secret garden there in the back, and breathe through the gates, the now open gates of your back. Nice and easy, 2 or 3 breaths. See if you can tap into that wonderful mobility we have in the upper back. And then release your limbs, shake them out in any way you like. So for example, you could take your legs out and flop them around. Hey, where did Elvis go? I didn't even notice that until I turned around. It's so fickle. And then circle your ankles both together or one at a time if you like. And then roll your wrists around a little bit, roll your wrists. And I don't mean to scare you, but I'm going to come a little closer for just a little hand movement thing that I think you might not be able to see clearly back where I was. So I'm going to plop down here. So you're going to start with your hands in a gentle fist. This isn't a yoga thing. I picked this up from the internet a while ago. It was like a series of hand movements to help with mobility of the joints in the hand. You can rest your elbows on something if it's too tiring to keep them up. And then you're going to open the hands just a little bit. So, and now why isn't Elvis here? Because these are the cat claws, cat claws. And then spread your fingers away from each other. And then join the fingers together, keep them as straight as you can, but don't judge. Some fingers aren't straight. You don't have to turn them this way, but this is a better way for you to see the next move. The next move, not folding the wrist, you're going to fold from these top joints or the bottom joints of your fingers, however you look at it. So it's almost like shadow puppet things, right? Now you're going to reach your fingertips to the base of your hand without curling the fingers. So you should be able, or someone looking at you, to be able to see your fingernails. So it's sometimes, and where I looked this up, found it on YouTube, this was called an open fist as opposed to closed fist. So we'll do that again a few more times, maybe a little faster. So if you get lost, just come back to where you think you should be. It's not rocket science. Gentle fist. Open the joints a little bit. So here you have your claws. And then stretch your fingers straight. So see what kind of space you have between your fingers. And then keep the fingers straight, but draw them toward each other. Look, my hands keeps moving. Draw them toward each other and then fold from the knuckles. So it kind of looks like that in front, like a little duck. And this is what it looks like from the side. And this is actually the hardest move that I used to be able to do, but after some hand injuries, I don't know if my hair is blocking this. So that's what that is. And then bring your finger pads or fingertips to your hand. And as you do that, you're stretching the fingers and then curl into a regular fist and then shake it out. And we'll do just 2 more times a little faster. Make sure, again, you can have your elbows. If I had them here, they'd be on my knees. You don't have to hold your arms up if your arms are tired. So find little fists, open into claws, stretch the fingers straight and wide, snuggle the fingers toward each other, fold from the knuckles, and then reach your finger, not your fingertips, it's really the finger pads, all the way down. So again, so they aren't tucked under, but look, my pinky wants to tuck under. They're not tucked under, then tuck them under, then shake them out, and one more time. Little gentle fist, not angry fist. No angry claws, nice claws. Stretch the fingers. Squeeze the fingers toward each other gently. Fold from the knuckles. It looks like this from the side, sort of. There we go. Looks all a little uneven. And then reach your finger pads to the base of your hands and see how that works out for you. And then curl them under again and give it a good shake. Give it a good shake out. So I'm going to go back there so I won't be so up and scary in your face. So now from here, we're going to do another thing. Years ago, I found this on YouTube and it got taken off, so I couldn't even give you the link. So we're going to be doing a movement lying on the side. So make sure you have pillows, pads, whatever you need to put under your head, because when you're lying on your side, you're going to have a big space. Your head's going to be very uncomfortable. So you're going to take that and up where your head's going to be. Then have another, and this could just be like a little hand towel. And I'm not going to use mine because it'll be in the way, but you're going to have another towel in front of your mat, okay? And then take maybe a bolster if you have one, or just a kind of a sturdy towel or pillow. I was practicing this today and it wasn't really helping me that much, but it might help you. And just take that behind you. And then you're going to lie on your side with the other bolster behind you, or it could be pillows. And you're going to lie with your bottom arm out in front of you. I don't know if I have such a good, there you go. bottom arm is out in front of you with the palm up. And I just have to be careful here because this is my AirPod. Let's see if that'll stay in. And the palm is up, and you're going to be bent knees. And if you wish, you can take yet another blanket and place it in between your knee and your hip joint. So the top leg could be like this, in other words. But I'm lazy, so I'm not going to grab another blanket to do that. So make sure your neck feels really comfortable. You could take your top arm, find the shoulder, and just kind of pull it out a little bit. You want to make sure you're not leaning forward or you're leaning back. You're pretty much on your side, and you have that soft thing behind you. Now, take your top arm, reach it out, and just rest it on top of your bottom arm. Now, very gently slide the hand forward. Now, you're not trying to go hand to hand. If you can stretch your arm hand to hand, that's great. So just reach that top arm a little bit. Don't irritate the neck. Lift it up about halfway, parallel to the floor. Bend the elbow, back of the hand to the forehead, and then leading with your shoulder and elbow, just roll back a little bit. Roll on back. And then roll back to your side. Release the hand. We're going to repeat. Slide your hand or reach your arm along the bottom arm. Don't strain either shoulder. Lift the arm up, bend the elbow, and roll on back. You might feel a nice stretch across the collarbones here. Again, reach the hand, slide it out, pick it up, bend the elbow, and roll it on back. So we did 3 like that. We're going to do 3 more. The only difference is there will be a cat in the way, first of all. When you come back to lying on your side, don't reach your arm out again. So now we're just going to keep the back of our hand in this woe is me, what a world position. And then you're just going to roll back, and the front arm kind of anchors you a little bit. You're not trying to pull yourself back. 1, we're just trying to ease ourselves back. And this is good for mobilizing the shoulder girdle as well. And now the third time you roll back, you may want to stay here. Now, if you're very, you might have, I'm not really very far down on my back at all, but I have a lot of tightness in my back today. You don't want to be here. That's not comfortable. So you're just going to rest here. You could take your top arm and rest it on your body. Or remember that blanket back there. You can grab it and kind of snuggle it up to your back. And then I'm going to take my back arm and rest it on that blanket. Maybe I'll do the opposite side, even though I hate to do things from the back. So I'm just really relaxing here. You could also take the shoulder blade that you're lying on and reach that a little bit out and see if you could just get a little more spaciousness for your back. You could turn your head up to the ceiling, have it to the side, whatever feels good, and just stay here for at least 4 breaths. Now, everyone's breath is different, so I'm going to count 4 of my breaths just to have a general guide. That was probably 5 breaths. And then when you're ready, you come back to lying on your side. And now I'm going to do the same thing. Oh, someone just meowed in my ear. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So take the prop out from your head. This is probably going to be too high. Roll onto your side and just lie on your back for a moment. You know, and just notice how your back feels. It might feel pretty nice because of what we did already. I'm going to do this facing away from you. I have mixed feelings about that because I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear me real well. So yeah, I think I'll do it. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll do it facing away from you. I thought it might be useful, even though I'm a little self-conscious about it. I think it might be good for you to see how it looks from the back when the back rolls over. So making sure you have room and moving your cat out of the way if needed. You're going to take that blanket, and I don't think I stressed this before. The blanket under your head is toward the side of the mat, because remember, we're rolling in the opposite way. And then I'm going to have this behind me, just waiting. And then you're going to lie on your side. And by the way, I should mention that if you have like tenderness in your hips, you might want to lie on a thin layer of blanket. And remember, you can also take a blanket, I'll show you, in between your inner knee, and your inner heel. So you can talk about me now because you're behind my back. Now you won't be able to see where my arm is. Ooh, I need a little more room here, buddy. I'm really close to my radiator. So you're gonna lie on your back and you want to make sure under here is comfortable and that you have enough space and that the shoulder that's on the floor is relaxed. Okay, you kind of be in the way. Sorry. Technical difficulties, but they're so cute. You stretch your arm out long. Mine's kind of under the radiator here. And then you take your top arm, put it on the bottom arm, and you reach it. You probably can't see it, but this is what draws the top shoulder blade away. So we're getting a stretch in the back. We do that. Then you lift your arm to about the height of your shoulder, bend the elbow, and roll back, like so. And you're not letting yourself go all the way because that would be very uncomfortable for your shoulder. And then roll back to center, release the top arm, place it on the bottom arm, stretch that arm forward, lift the arm up halfway, try to keep your arm straight. I have a wall in the way. Bend the elbow and two, roll it on over. You might notice one side is very different. Back to your side, release the arm one last time, slide it along. Maybe you'll find it on this arm, the fingertips can actually pass the bottom fingertips of your other hand. And then lift the arm up, bend the elbow, and open it up. Now, as you do this, sometimes you might have to adjust where the thing is under your head to make sure it's still under your head. Now, you're going to keep the hand on your head, on your forehead. You're going to do 3 more. 1. So here, even though it might be weird that I'm not facing you, you can kind of see how the back, I'm lowering it. I'm not pulling with my elbow. I'm not yanking. And this is the 3rd one. So now here on this side, I'm actually lower. So I'm going to bring this super close to me because it's comfortable. You can rest your arm on this. You could rest your arm on your top hip or leg, or you could just rest the forearm on your chest. And you can turn your head any way you like. You also might get a little more space for your back if you take your bottom shoulder blade and scoop that over a little bit. So more of your back is touching something. So the side you're laying on, that shoulder blade is going to be on the floor, and some of the center of the back might be on the floor, and then the rest of you is kind of leaning against the bolster. You don't have to do it with the bolster here. I don't think that was, or the rolled up blanket. I don't think that was in the video I saw, but then it was like, oh, that's very uncomfortable. We don't want to do that. Take a few more breaths here. One or two more breaths. So feel pretty open across your collarbone. And then when you're ready, slowly come onto your back. So lift the top leg up, clam that leg open, remove any prop you had, and shift your hips to one side. Come to lie on your back. If you want, you might want to try it with the legs out straight. Not always very comfortable, but you could try that for a moment and just notice how much of your back is now spanning the distance of your mat. And then after you stay here for a few moments, you're going to bend your knees. Actually, no, let's do a twist here. So yes, bend your knees. That part was right. And make sure your head is comfortable. You might not need as much height as you had before. Hello, Albus. You came back, I know. And then just start tipping your knees a little bit from right to left. Just a little. And then, oh, it doesn't like a cat, like shaking his head in your face. And then you can start the motion a little bit bigger. So if you have any limitations or blockages in the hips and you can't take one leg over so far, then don't take it over so far. And the next time your legs come over to the right, just let them relax there in the twist. Now, you have some blankets around you. Maybe you have a cat, so you can take one prop underneath your outer right thigh if you like. And you can also take another soft prop. Yoga blocks work well for this too, if you don't mind. They're a little harder. You can take another support under the inner back leg side. And you can take your arms as wide as you like. You can keep your head turned toward the bent knee. You could bring it to neutral, or you could turn it in the opposite direction. Whatever feels good for you, that's what you're going to do. And also you can take a few breaths here. Maybe 3 breaths. Again, your 3 breaths might be my 2 or my 5. With each exhale, let something go somewhere. When you're ready to release, just roll over onto your feet. Shift your spine back to center. Rest your inner knees against each other. Pause there. And then you can do the same twist again with the knees landing on the other side. Give myself a little more room away from my radiator. So feet wide, knees wide. And then you're going to start tipping the knees over a few times, right to left, again, just to notice how they feel. If there's any tightness in the thighs, that makes the movement feel a little restricted. So maybe you can kind of juice that up a little bit. Or maybe you just know you need more padding on that side. And then the next time your knees come to the left, you could just have them with no props if you like, by the way, and then they might surrender a little bit more. But since it's a mellow Wednesday class, I like the propping. And you might see here, everyone's back leg is going to be higher from the floor than the top leg. So whatever prop you use, whether it's a blanket or a block, you kind of, I just notice it looks sloppy, you wedge it really up close to the butt cheek on that side. That's what I find is the most useful. And then shift to get as much as your spine broad, as much as your back, it is, broad on the mat. Take your arms out. You can turn your head away from your bent knees, which is what we usually do in yoga and twist. But you could also keep the head neutral or looking toward your knees. So be a maverick and turn your head any direction you like. Let your body be heavy and still, cradled in the prop. And take some breath. If you wish to explore your breath, you can. We're lying on the back, so sometimes you don't feel movement in the back as much when you're lying on it. It depends. So if you want, you may want to take one hand and rest it on your chest and just notice the breath there. Use the hand to help you feel the gentle lift and the gentle lowering as the breath flows in and as it flows out. Feel free to sigh or yawn, whatever feels good. And then now, or a few breaths from now, slowly bring your knees back up, shift your hips, shift your hips back to center. Take your feet wide, let your feet, knees rest together, and just pause here. Almost like a little mini Shavasana, but we have 1 or 2 more things I wanted to do before that study. It's so distracting today. Usually he gets up and leaves or sits where you can't see him, but maybe he just wants to get on the mat and I'm annoying him. So when you're ready, come up to sitting. So all the movements we did to kind of open our back and lubricate the shoulder girdle. Now let's see if we can take a fully supported pose where we're not going to move in and out. We're just going to set it up with props, and then we're going to set up our props, and then we're going to plop. So for this, I'm going to have my head side here. So I'm starting at the head end. Take one blanket or towel, and let's say you get it into this shape, and then fold it in half. So it's like a rectangle, a horizontal rectangle. And place that, your head's not necessarily going to go there, but place that on the head end of your mat. Is that right? I think so. Then, can I have this? Take another blanket or towel of the same thickness, and then you're going to fold that into a rectangle about like this, and then fold it in half the long way. The other one, I had you fold in half the short way. This you're going to fold in half the long way. So it looks something like this. Whatever you're using, just make sure, unless you've done this before and you know you don't like it, make sure that the narrower long prop is narrower than your shoulders, because that's going to help us relax a little more. Now, remember that whenever we do poses and we're in them for a while, some people like more support under their heads. So if you have another blanket handy or a pillow, do that. You could also take, sorry, do I look like a mean person? You can also take a bolster, if you have one, or a few pillows, and place that at the lower end of your mat. So you have these two blankets. It's like a giant T shape, right, Albus? You're kind of in the way. It's like a giant capital T, a long, narrow blanket, a little blanket on top. Now your bum is going to go in the well between the bolster and the long prop. Your bum is going to go on the mat. However, some people, when they do this pose, want a little something under their hips. So you might want to have, that's not really how we come into the pose, bud. You might want to have a butt lifter there if you feel you need that. And lastly, you can take some other very small props. Yoga blocks are a little hard. Sometimes just a smaller towel, but you know, it's a lot of props to have. Well, it is entertaining having here. So you're going to sit with your butt in the well and get your legs comfortable over. You don't have to use a prop here. You can just have your legs out, but it's much more comfortable. And then, I know it's cool, you're going to come to lying on the vertical prop here, not the cat. So you're going to ease yourself down, make sure the prop doesn't dig into you in any way. Now, I'm pretty short, so I don't know if Albus is blocking it, but the block I left at the very top of the mat, my head didn't even reach that. This is, so he can sit there and he won't be in my way. So from where I put my butt's on the floor and everything up there is on that first vertical blanket. But here, if you wanted more height under your head, even if you were here, you could reach back, take that blanket you left there, that hopefully does not have a 14-pound cat on it, and bring it under your head. And then, if you like, you can use your blocks to elevate the hands if you wish. You don't have to. It sort of depends when you do this. If you're on a prop, if your blanket under you really thick and high, it's kind of almost too big a drop for your shoulders. So you don't want to feel like you're ripping your arms out of the shoulder joints. You want to feel maybe a little stretch in the collarbone area and in the armpit chest area. It doesn't have to be a big stretch that we hold. It can be a mild stretch or just a feeling of opening. But if you've had a shoulder injury, you actually will want to have a little less opening. So I'm just showing you, this isn't the best way to show you, but I was limited here because I can't use this blanket to show you. But if I take an arm here, Albus, you're killing me. If you take an arm here, that'll prevent your shoulder from dropping. Now, we want our shoulder to drop, but not if you have not if you have like a shoulder, what do you call that? Rotator cuff. Oh, you don't want that. So ideally, we want our shoulders a little lower than the height of our chest. We want our collarbones open. Again, you can use a prop if you don't like to have your hand on the floor, or you want to just have not your arms just hanging out. You can take your elbow down and rest your hand on a towel or a blanket. Now, it'd be nice if Albus was here. If you had like one cat under each hand, that would be perfect. But everything is perfect. I don't want him to feel he's not perfect. Wherever he is, he makes me relax. So hopefully this makes sense. Just again, remember, you don't want your low back curve to be overly arched. If it is, that means you got to get some more height under your butt. You need to have a blanket in between where your butt is. You could always add more height under the legs, you know, if you have a few extra pillows. So if this gets recorded as a video, if you ever want to do it on your own, you can just kind of speed through it and hear the instructions and then do it yourself so your legs could be higher. What else? Eye pillow could be nice. But we're just going to use this pose as what it is, a gentle, subtle restorative back bend. It's not a huge back bend. It's a subtle back bend, like a small cobra. But you're not using your muscles. You use your muscles to get into it and move all the props around, but then you're done. And all you have left to do is relax. And you can also pet your cat. Take a few breaths here. Now, while you're here, I am going to give you a few things you can look at, not with your eyes, but with your awareness. A few things you can explore with your body and your breath, your mind and your breath, but you don't have to. Feel free to turn off the sound or just ignore me. So just breathe naturally, in and out. And then we're going to do a breath practice, which isn't an official yoga practice, but it's kind of an interval type breathing that's very common in yoga. And I base it on something that Judith Lassiter does. I learned restorative yoga with her. And it's called rhythm breath. And I have it on my website if you ever want to refer to it. But in rhythm breath, we're going to bring our awareness to an area, take a slightly longer breath, not a forced breath, just slightly longer, follow with 3 natural breaths. And there's lots of ways we can use this breath. We can use it to help us fall asleep. We're going to use it here to explore a few places in the body. So bring your awareness to your upper chest. You can place a hand there if you wish, but you don't have to. And the next time you inhale, take a slightly longer or slower breath and just notice if you feel, don't force any movement, just feel if you feel the natural lift of the top of your chest as you breathe in. And as you exhale, notice if there's another shift with the chest softening down. Now just take at least 2 breaths, natural. You're not trying to change anything. So you don't want to take one intentionally long breath and then another and another. That's not really relaxing. Breathing in and breathing out. If you'd like to continue exploring, bring your awareness to your side ribs. You can place the backs of your hands there if you like, or just your awareness. And the next time you inhale, invite a slightly bigger or longer breath in so you can maybe have a fraction more time, a few more seconds to notice the movement of your chest, right to right, left to right, not your chest, excuse me, your side body. I'd always follow that slightly more active breath with a few natural breaths. And you don't have to put your hands anywhere on the body. You could just bring your awareness there. Whenever we breathe, we expand in many directions. And we're just exploring a few of them. And then one more place, if you like, one hand on the belly, one hand on the chest, and also bring your awareness to the corresponding areas on your back body. And because I love food too much, I usually use the image often of an ice cream sandwich. So that you have the top cookie, you have ice cream in between, and then you have your bottom cookie. Without force and without thinking too much about ice cream, take a slightly bigger inhale, and you might get a sense that the 2 cookie halves of your ice cream sandwich are lifting away from each other. The top cookie part up and the bottom cookie part is going down toward the floor. And as you exhale without force, you might feel those 2 sides of your ice cream sandwich just settling back toward the vanilla filling. Take 2 more breaths here, but you have to use your hands, especially since if your elbows are in the air, that's not very relaxing. And explore the front of you and the back of you and how it moves with your breath. If you like, you can put all together the few places as we visited, the front body, the back body. You could just focus on the upper chest instead of all those places, and the right and left side. And as you breathe, just breathe long and freely. And just notice how and where you feel your body expand. And exhale as you release. If you still feel comfortable in the pose, stay here for a few more moments in this gentle supported back bend. If you're not comfortable, you can certainly bend your knees. If your back is bothering you, that could be one thing. But remember here, we are opening this, inviting all of this tissue and all of these muscles to subtly open here in this back bend. And we're also allowing our shoulders to drop down if that works for us. And that's going to increase that opening. And it's also great for our posture because our shoulders tend to be like that because we have too much to do, right? So take a few more breaths here if you like. When you're ready to come out, you don't need to watch me, but I need to come out to get ready for the next piece. So when you're ready to come out, do it slowly. Bend your knees, place your feet on a prop if you had one down there. Shift your way over to either side, and you can, you can lie with your side on the blanket. And if you have another blanket handy or a little bolster, while you're just coming back to neutral or somewhat neutral after that back bend, you could place it in between your inner knee joints and in your head joints. I would take another blanket under my head here, but there is a big fuzzy Albus kitty on my blanket. So just rest on your side, notice your breath, pet your dog or cat if they join you. And then when you're ready, use your top hand to start lifting you up, come up the rest of the way, come to sitting. Now, you can start heading into Shavasana now. I'm going to lead you through one more twist, which is always nice to do after a back bend, even a subtle one. But you don't have to do the twist if you don't want to, because we did some twisting today. And I think this is a record for Albus being in the class. I could check that with you later. He's kind of in the way, but I'm going to let him be in the way. So sit nice and tall. He's just like right in an awkward position. Sit nice and tall. Take your legs out in front of you and bend either knee. I'll say the right one just so you have rights and lefts, but you're going to bend the knee and draw it comfortably close toward you. And I forgot to remind you, you can be sitting on anything you like here. Don't let this foot get too relaxed and the leg. It's tempting with a prop here, but try and keep this leg a little active. And then to come into this, you can take your arms around right below your knee. Foot could be anywhere that works for your particular knee bend situation. And I'm going to come into the twist with my arms up, and then I'm going to place them, but you can place your arms and then twist. So inhale, lengthen your spine, and as you exhale, take the twist. If you didn't have your arms set up right from the beginning, if your right leg is bent, your left hand is below the shin, the right arm is behind you. Don't take it too far back. You'll be like, like a lounging person, but you won't do much for your spine. So you want your spine to be nice and long here. This isn't a restorative twist. It's a regular old twist that we are using our muscles to hold. Take a few breaths here. You might notice after all the work we did, all the movements that we did, though they were subtle, you might feel, if you can remember back to the first twist you did when you were sitting, you might feel you have not necessarily a bigger twist or even more range of movement. You might feel that, but you might feel this glorious opening across your upper chest that you created more space. And isn't that yummy in itself? Right, buddy? Take a few breaths with all twists. We do them on both sides. I think Alice is inventing a few new restorative poses right here. So when you're ready, change your legs. So if you had your right knee before, have your left knee bent. If you have trouble, I didn't mention this on the first side, but try and keep the knee of the bent knee pointing up. If it's like this, flopping out, just take the foot out a little wider. That's one way to do that. And then you can have the foot comfortably close to you. Make sure both sitting bones are down. And you can, on this side, I'll start with the arms set up. So my right hand's coming to my left shin. My left arm left arm is behind me. Inhale, lift and lengthen all the way through your spine. So good. And as you exhale, gently twist your shoulder girdle toward the left. And notice if you twist with more ease than you usually do, or more than you felt in the beginning of the class. Let's let that leg flop out. It kind of makes the hips kind of uneven, which isn't great. And I don't know if you can see this, it probably will show on the video, but if I let my leg flop out, look, it just pulls that back shoulder forward. So it takes away a little bit of the width across the chest that we get in the twist. Take one or two more breaths here. And then when you're ready, slowly unwind. Stretch if you like, or sigh. We're going to come to Shavasana. When we come to the floor for Shavasana, you may want to hug your legs into your chest, but we're ready to go. I don't want to disturb. Okay. Can I just have one? Can I just have one? Thank you. So as you come to Shavasana, at the very least, if you're lying down, you might want to have a blanket or something soft under your head. You can have no props. But since you had a lot of blankets around you, feel free to use them any way you like. Covering yourself up is good. Eye pillow's good. Your favorite furry friend is good. I'll Shavasana with you for a few moments, but then you might hear or see me sit up, but you stay put where you are. So come to line comfortably. I'm going to come back to my key. Use your props in any way that is useful. And when you're ready, close your eyes. Invite your body to let go in any way that it can. Surrender the weight of your head and all your brilliance and wisdom. Let that go too. All your worries, your to-do list, let that go as well. Invite the stuff that you carry on your shoulders, even if it's only a handbag, but there could be some worries there. Invite those worries and heavy loads, physically and emotionally, to slide right off your back, down to your floor, and through the floor, all the way down to the ground, and let the ground under your building or your home just soak up your troubles as if they were raindrops. Invite your arms to rest, fingers to be soft, hands not gripping or clasping, belly soft, hips heavy. Surrender the weight of your legs, the strong, sturdy legs that take you so many places. Allow those legs to be taken by you into stillness. And don't forget your lower legs. And don't forget your feet and each toe. Invite your toes to let go. Let go wherever you can and surrender to stillness. when you're ready, which might be now or maybe later, you're at home, so you don't have to get up. Bend your knees, place your feet on your mat, or if you had a bolster down there, on your bolster or your pillow. And then after you've done that, do anchor your feet on your mat, roll over to your side, and rest on your side for a few breaths before you come up to sitting. If you like, you can bend your knees into your chest if that feels good. If you'd like to come to sitting and kind of conclude the practice together in the live class, but you can do that, or you can stay right where you are. Right, buddy? And then whether you're sitting or lying down, just take a moment to offer gratitude to yourself for giving yourself this gift of stillness and quiet. And hopefully it will make you for a few minutes maybe feel a little better. And chances are, if we did this more often, we'd probably be less cranky to other people as well. Maybe you guys are never cranky with anybody else. If you like, join your hands, lift your heart gently up, draw your hands to your heart center, and lightly bow your head. Join me in honoring your body for all the things it was able to do with or without injuries. Being grateful to your heart for its strong beats, for its life, and for all the love you have for others. And also honor and cherish your soul, your spirit, your unique presence on this earth. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om peace, peace, peace. And even though you can't hear it, Albus just said, yeah.